So what if the relationship that you have with the kids that you lead makes all the difference in their life? Not only yours, but in theirs. Hey friends, Andrew Seifert here. What you're about to see is a clip from one of my live trainings where I unpack just one point from my 12-point framework on eliminating classroom chaos. In this session, we're focusing on the leader-child relationship, specifically the nature of the authority relationship. Let's jump in. Think about a person who's made a big difference in your life, who was a leader in your life. It can be a parent, it can be a teacher, it could be a coach, it could be a youth leader, somebody, it could be all three, somebody that poured their life into you. How did that affect you? Now, think about being that person for someone else. One day, if you continue in the roles you are, the kids that you know now will be telling other people about you. Is that what you want? I hope so, because that's what you're going to get. And the good news is, or the scary news, one way or the other, is they're going to share stories that either were for good or were for bad. You're going to be an example in their life. And so I just want to encourage you guys a little bit. I'm going to give you some insight into having stronger relationships with the kids you lead. And there's a key word here above all else that we don't like to talk about, especially in public schools. Coaches don't mind. Churches are okay. They understand this word more than most, but I'm going to still teach it to you. And it's this word right here. It's the word authority. Okay. Because your relationship with the kids you teach is not like a friendship. Okay. You're not these kids' friends. Now, you can be friendly. That's good. If you want friends, be friendly. Well, the truth is you can only be friendly in the right way. Okay. I don't know if you've ever had this. I'll tell you a story. When I was younger, I used to have a whole bunch of kids that I was their teacher. But at recess, I would go out there and I'd be their friend. In fact, I'd have some kids that I wasn't their teacher that year. Maybe I had them years before, or maybe I would on different days. But it was great because I'd go out there at recess and I'd see this kid. I'd be like, hey, you want to play basketball? And so we'd play basketball together and I'd just be one of the kids. And what I loved is I could then send him back into his teacher's hands and be like, okay, good. I don't have to deal with that. Okay. So one of the things that grandparents know is they love having their grandkids because they get to say yes all the time. They get to be their friend. See, that's all about authorities, that they're not where the buck stops. You understand? When you are the leader of children, you are their authority. You are where the buck stops. You're like, hey, I have to make these hard decisions. And so I just want to encourage you guys that this right here is the nature of your relationship. I'm going to teach you 3 things about the nature of your relationship whenever you are in charge. Okay. So the first thing is that can't ignore wrong. Now, I want to give you guys this. If something happens in your classroom and it's outright wrong, you can't ignore it. Okay. You're the boss. That's what's great about whenever I go out there and play with the kids in the playground. I might see it and I'm like, oh, I'm not in charge. Okay. So I keep doing these other things as long as it's not dangerous. Okay. But maybe they're chewing gum. Maybe I don't know, they're talking about things they really shouldn't be. And I might notice it. I might hear it. If I'm not in charge, I don't have to come and take care of it. Okay. That has to do with the nature of your relationship. But if you are in authority, then you have been given by the authority of the parents, by the authority of the school or the church or the program. You are the one in charge and you have to stop the wrong. Now, I will tell you one thing on this that you got to realize, okay, is you also, just a little boundary to put around this, is you don't have to look for it. Okay. One of the bad things that happens is you'll get kids who are in trouble. Like a few years ago, I had a first grader and God bless him. He was a handful for most of the other teachers, mainly because he got a bad reputation early and he was raised like I was raised by wolves in the television. And so he'd come in there and do everything wrong almost all the time. But I would correct him and I would quit watching him. Okay. Because kids, they love attention. But if you're always giving them attention for wrong, then guess what happens? They keep doing wrong because attention is the currency of the classroom, wherever it is. And your attention is the big bucks. You're the $100 bills. Okay. Whoever's got the boss's attention can do things that it makes you feel good. Because I don't know about you, whenever I was younger, especially this is true for the hard to handle kids, the kids are the hardest to handle, want your attention, and they'll take good or bad. Just you're not going to ignore me, I promise. Okay? So that's one of the things that you've got to watch is you have to look for the wrong that they're doing. Now, if you see it, don't ignore it. Okay? You also don't have tunnel vision to never see it. Okay? But like if you know something's going on over there, you can walk over in the corner and be like, hey guys, what's going on over here? Nothing. Okay, well, let's keep it that way. Break this up. Now, but if you do see the wrong, be like, Johnny, come here. This is what I just saw. What happened? And you tell them what you saw, and then you ask what happened. Is that what happened? And Johnny will either tell you the truth, a lie, or some version of it. And then you listen to him, like, okay, Johnny, sit over here. Billy, come here. I saw you over here. What happened? And then you have him tell you, oh, okay. So then you get a little bit more picture. Okay, sit over here, and you separate them. Julie, come here. Hey, what happened over here? And then you hear her. Then you as an adult can take 3 points of view and put it together, be like, oh, okay, here's what I think happened. All three of you guys, come here. And you have them all three here. Here's what happened. Is this what happened? And then they'll be like, yeah. Or they'll be like, no, it was this. And now that you've taken 3 stories, you can put it all together. Does that make sense? So this is some top level stuff. Hopefully you guys will get some of it. Number 2. Dan, just so you know, you don't have to look for it, okay? If anything, look for the good. For the kid who does wrong all the time, find something good. Give him a reason to repeat a behavior that got your attention for good, okay? Because he's going to repeat some behavior. Whatever behavior you point out over and over and over, he's going to repeat it because you got your attention for it, okay? Especially the kids who do wrong. Now, the kids who do right, they don't like that attention, so they quit doing it, and they figured that out. The kids who do wrong like me, I'm like, oh, buddy, I'm going to have your attention for good or bad, I promise. Okay. And if you never find something good I do, then guess what? I'll give you plenty of bad. Okay. All right. So number 2, the nature of authority has to do with can make it different. When you're in charge, when you're the boss, okay, you have a special power. You can make more of a difference in that classroom than anybody else. For instance, in your own household, okay, your mom or dad says something, it carries more weight than when your brother or sister says something. Okay, that's what it is. This is all about weight, having weightiness to your words. Okay, which is why your words matter. You need to be careful about the words. If you begin to share things that aren't true with your kids, or if you say something, if you make threats that you can't follow through or won't follow through on, what you're doing is you're watering down the difference you can make for that kid. Does that make sense? Like if you're like, hey, you do that again and you're going to be sitting in timeout for the rest of your life. Okay, well, that's ridiculous. Okay. Now, are you trying to make a point? Sure. Don't make that point. Because what you're teaching that kid is when you say things, sometimes you mean it, sometimes you don't. And now the kid has to decide whether or not you mean it. Does that make sense? You're putting way too much power on the kid. But if you say, you do that again, you're sitting for 5 minutes. You can follow through on that. Okay? And then you do 5 minutes, let him up. And guess what? You will warn him, like, listen, you do that again, now it's going to be 10. Okay? So, and he understands that. Oh, he means that. He don't have to wonder, am I going to sit here for the rest of my life? Because reason why parents do that is because you're trying to make them afraid so that they obey you. You don't need to do that. You're already in charge. Okay? You don't have to make them afraid to obey you. Okay? You are already in power. You don't have to use those tactics. Okay? And then the third thing, I'm going to erase this because I really want you to understand this one. Can't ignore wrong. Everybody say, can't ignore wrong. Say, you can make a difference because you have the extra power in your words. Okay? And then number 3, okay? If I say be nice. You don't have to be a jerk to be in charge. That's the thing where in culture nowadays, we're starting to come back from it, but we swung from the authoritarian figure. You do what I say because I'm in charge. All the way to the, would you like to do today? Okay, there's a balance in the middle of this. Okay, and it's just the authority that's nice. Does that make sense? We don't want, listen, when you're a boss, you think of somebody in charge of you right now. It could be a teacher, a boss, a parent. The way they talk to you, okay, like I said earlier, they can make their words carry weight. So guess what? Don't you appreciate when they're nice? Don't you like it when they ask instead of tell? Can they tell? Sure. Do they have to? No. You can ask. Now, I'll tell you this. I will start with an ask because I'm going to give you 3 steps. This is going to change your life if you learn this, okay? This is how you're nice. Number 1, ask. Say their name. Say please. Here's what that looks like. Johnny, please pick up that pencil and hand it to me. There you go. That was it. Use their name. You know why we say their name? Because it lets you know who you're talking to. If I just said, pick up that pencil and hand it to me, everybody's like, who? Me? Talking to me? They don't know. So be specific. Okay? So be nice. Number 2, here's where you tell. If they don't listen first, then you drop the please. Okay? Johnny, pick up that pencil, hand it to me. Now I dropped it. So now I went from step 1 to step 2, only because he ignored me. You see? Either he got distracted or he just didn't feel like doing it, whatever it is. But now you've gone from an ask to a tell. This is a command. If they don't obey after a command, you always bring a consequence. Because it is different. Okay? Because you ... Now I ... That's the phrase you use. Because, Johnny, because you didn't hand me that pencil, now I have to have you go around and pick up all the pencils in the classroom. Look around and go sharpen those 2. See what I mean? So now he's got a consequence. Johnny, because you didn't pick up the pencil, now you need to go through the whole room and look for any trash that you can find. Ready to go. You don't get anything else until you do that. This is a consequence, okay? And the way you enforce consequences are to take away privilege. Privilege, any good thing that you've given them. Everything in the classroom is a privilege. The relationships they have with their friends is a privilege. All of these things are. Does that make sense? Everybody say stronger relationships with your kids. Okay? And you need to know the way you have a stronger relationship is by understanding the nature of your relationship, which is one of authority. Okay? You are the boss. You are not their friend. Can you be nice is one of the keys to being a good authority, but it's not, you start off nice. But I tell my kids sometimes, I'm like, listen, you go outside the boundaries I set, you'll see a side of me you don't want to see. And I use it just like that. I just show a little bit. So I like to stay here. This is where I stay. I'd say, so 80%'s here. Okay. And then I got probably another 5 here and then maybe 5% here. So I don't have to go here very much because when you run your classroom well, I'll say 5 and 5. When you run your classroom well, then you don't even have to tell kids what to do. You can ask them. You don't have to bring consequences. Now, younger kids sometimes can be different, but that's okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Hopefully this helps you. Is that good for you? Thank you guys for watching. I hope you really enjoyed it. Keep in mind, this was only one principle, authority, out of 12 that make up the full classroom flow framework. When you put them together, you don't just manage classrooms, you transform them. If you want a complete blueprint, grab a copy of my new book, Order Over Chaos. It walks you through all 12 points so you can build systems that eliminate disruption and give kids the structure they need to thrive. You'll find a link below. Go get your copy, and I'll see you inside.